Good morning, everybody. You are currently listening to a Tall Girls podcast hosted by a tall girl named India. I hope you guys are doing well on this February day. Honestly, I feel so much better knowing that we're getting closer and closer to summer. If that makes any sense, we're at the end of February right now. I'm recording this on the end of February. By the time you're listening to this, it's actually going to be March already. March is coming up, but it's freezing right now. It feels like 2 degrees, and I'm just ready for summer to come. But anyways, enough of that. I just wanted to have a little chit chat today because I don't know, I feel like we never really talk about what it means to be defined by your height, because I see these posts about not being defined by your height or your weight or honestly any physical attribute about you. And I even posted it on my accounts, by the way. Shameless plug. Follow me at a Tall Girls Podcast on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. Shameless plug. But anyways, I never really sat down and truly thought about what it means to be defined by a physical attribute, especially your height. Like, take a second and think about it right now. What does that mean? Like, what does it mean to be defined by your height? What does that mean? Exactly. Nothing comes to mind for me either. Right? You know what I mean? Well, I feel like I kind of found part of that answer this past week. So this week I had a couple interviews for some gig work because I'm into social media and content marketing, and I'm trying to gain some more experience within that field. So I applied to a few gigs. I had a couple interviews, and when you put your applications in, you put your resume. So obviously this podcast is in my resume, it's part of my experience with social media and all that stuff. And everyone just seemed so curious. Each and every person that was interviewing me just seemed so curious about this podcast. And honestly, I had no shame about it. It's part of my experience, and it's honestly part of my life now. This is a lifestyle. This podcast is literally a lifestyle for me. So they would ask questions about it, whatever, nothing crazy about that. And I guarantee you, every single time they'd ask me, just curious, how tall are you? One even said, yeah, this won't affect your standing with the other candidates. Kind of as a joke. I mean, haha, right? Hilarious. Not really, but isn't that like a personal question? Isn't that considered a personal question? Because some people do consider asking about salary or asking about your weight to be very personal and very rude to ask, quite frankly. So I kind of feel like it's illegal to ask about your height during an interview. Was I even supposed to answer that question anyways? I feel like I could have probably sued. But I mean, I answered it because it's part of my podcast. Why not? I'm just going to put it out there. Honestly, they should have done their due diligence, like their due research on me, because I could have been an axe murderer. Like, I literally gave you links to my social medias. You didn't take a look at it and look at my bio. It's like the first thing you see when you go on there. You look at my bio and you see I'm 5'10". That just shows how interested you really are in me. Anyways, besides that, I told them I was 5'10". I was like, whatever, it doesn't hurt to tell them I'm 5'10". So I told them that I was 5'10". And I feel like their demeanors kind of changed after that. I don't know if that makes sense, but one even said, oh, that's not even that tall. And I get that so much. I get it so much. And it's honestly, quite frankly, so annoying. Oh, it's not even that tall. Well, to a lot of people, it is that tall. And honestly, to me, I'm around a lot of people who are between 5 feet and 5'5". So yes, to them, it's pretty tall. And to me, I feel pretty tall. But oh, it's not even that tall. And thinking back, I'm like, why did I even stay in that interview when they said that? That, I don't know. It was just kind of a shock to me, but whatever. After I told them my height, I feel like the interview changed. It went from conversational to your standard interview. It went from friendly to like, okay, let's just get these other questions answered. And in that moment, I kind of felt like they defined me by my height. I felt like they just saw me as some naggy girl who over exaggerates but ends up disappointing in the end. Like they probably, when they heard about my podcast, they probably thought, oh, she's 6'7" and that's why she started it. But then they heard 5'10" and they're like, oh, that's disappointing. 5'10", that's absolutely nothing. And I just felt like I went from a hell yeah to a, oh, okay. And I think that's the opposite side of the spectrum of how people see tall women, how people judge tall women, quite frankly, because we're sometimes seen on the masculine side. Oh, we're mannish, we're dominant, overly confident, supposedly athletic. But in this case, I kind of felt like a joke, you know? It's like, why are you complaining about your height? And this podcast, as you guys know, it's not me complaining about my height. It's me trying to embrace it and trying to be honest and be open about my struggles with my height and to help you guys overcome those struggles as well. Just talk through it, you know what I mean? Try to get through it together. We're on this journey of self-love together. And that's what this podcast is. I'm not complaining about my height, but I feel like with that was what they were thinking, that this podcast was essentially revolved around complaining about my height. But I don't know, maybe because these interviews were with tall men, you know, tall businessmen, I guess that kind of makes sense. Yeah, tall people are more likely to own businesses, and I'm pretty sure they were all probably tall too. But the point here is the whole thing just felt incorrect, and it just became something completely different from what I thought and it was going to be. And it just showed me that people can really treat you differently because of your height. But to me, what I see as defining you is not your height or any physical attribute, to be honest. And it's terrible that people think about that. It's terrible. But for me, it's how you treat yourself. People usually say, oh, treat others how you want to be treated. And I kind of want to reverse that ideology that you should treat yourself how you treat others. What do I mean by that? That makes absolutely no sense. I know. So let me explain. When I say treat yourself how you treat others, assuming you're a nice person, of course, we often hype our friends up, hype our family members up, even hype strangers up. And it's like, we don't do that enough for ourselves. And this brings up something like a recent memory. Emma Chamberlain actually said something that was super true. I saw this in a video the other day, and she said something like, we're often so hard on ourselves. We say we should work harder. We can always do better. But when we see other people struggling because they're feeling like they're overworked or feeling burnt out, we say, oh, they're human. They shouldn't be too hard on themselves. And that's so true. Like, we talk badly to ourselves. We talk down on ourselves. And we call ourselves ugly, and we call ourselves all of these bad names, all these bad things, yet to other people we're calling them beautiful and handsome and talk greatly about them and hype them up and just, I don't know, try to make them feel like they're deserving. And it's like, we deserve that too. We deserve to talk nicely about ourselves. We deserve to look in that mirror every day and say one nice quality about ourselves. We deserve to say positive affirmations and just feel happy with ourselves. And that's how we define ourselves. I feel like how seriously we take ourselves, through how much we feel like we're deserving, if that makes sense. But that's personally what I feel like defines us. How we talk to ourselves, how we see ourselves, how even if you take yourself out on a date or just tell yourself that you're beautiful, that really just shows you that you see you as important and other people will also see you as important. So, yeah, that's my little chat. Let's see if these interviewers get back to me this week. They're supposed to get back to me early this week. Well, by the time this episode is up, they probably would have already gotten back to me. So hopefully there's some good results in there. And thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you liked this little chat. As always, feel free to hit me up on my socials at A Tall Girls Podcast on Instagram, Pinterest, and TikTok. They're going to be linked below for you guys to check out. And wish me luck on future interviews. Let's see if anyone else asks about my height. I'm pretty sure you guys will be hearing about that more and more as time goes on. This is so strange, but I'll let you guys know. You guys are awesome. You're beautiful. You're amazing. And just thank you so much for existing. I'll catch you in the next episode. Good night and goodbye.